It certainly is welcome news with the announcement yesterday that China and Australia have agreed on a process, and that is an expedited review of the current duties on Australian barley. It was a pretty devastating blow in 2020 when those tariffs were announced on our barley. We've always had a great relationship. Our Australian growers have very much valued the relationship with China. And as you indicated, have produced barley that meets the particular malting specification that is needed in the Chinese marketplace.
Right. So, Shona, how do you see this unfolding in terms of the ties between the two countries and in terms of demand coming in from China? Would there be a boost?
Well, we know that when pretty much the tariffs placed on Australian barley effectively halted export over to that marketplace. And we know that with the war on Ukraine and what's happened there with barley exports out of the Ukraine, that there is a gap there. And we're very hopeful that as this process plays out, that the market back with China will open up again, and our high-quality malting barley will be able to once again find its way into the Chinese marketplace.
What kind of a price function do you think this is going to have, though? Because do you think it's going to be to the upside because it's obviously creating more demand on the Australian side, or net-net, do you think it could be a little bit of a downturn because it's going to displace, if we do see, the abolition of the tariffs, a little bit of how the markets are faring right now in terms of the supply chains?
Well, from a grower perspective, we always like to see high prices for the high-quality grain that we produce, but it remains to be seen what that looks like. And obviously, the tariffs haven't been removed at the moment. This is a process that needs to be worked through, but we're hopeful that at the end of it, that those duties will be reviewed and that will be positive from a pricing perspective in what has been a very high production year and time for our Australian growers as well.
Do you think the producers should be planning for that circumstance now in terms of getting ahead of planting and the like? Because I would imagine that if the tariffs aren't abolished, then it just creates a little bit of a testy situation yet again. So is that what you're suggesting to the farmers that comprise your membership lobby, or are you telling them to hold off?
Well, the one thing about Australian growers is that they're experts on their farm and what they need to put into their production cycles. They'll be monitoring this news very closely at the moment and making the decisions that best suit their farming enterprise. What we saw when the tariffs were announced was that growers looked at other crops or other ways to plant. And we did see barley production actually declining a little bit in Australia during that period, but we saw that they transferred over to other grains in place of that.